Welcome in all you Red Elephants out there listening, and those of you who wish to be who are listening too. This is the debut episode of the Behind the G podcast. I'm Katie B. Davis, GHS alumni, current sports information director at Gainesville High School. And if we're going to go deep with it, I'm also an alumni of Anoda Elementary School, Fair Street Elementary School, and Gainesville Middle School. I'm joined, as I will be every week, by my co-host, athletic director for the Gainesville City School System, Adam Lindsey.
Thanks for that wonderful intro there.
It only took me 12 takes.
Yeah, but they were great.
I appreciate it.
They were great. And I'm not an alumni of Gainesville High School, but it is my pleasure to serve as the director of athletics for Gainesville High School for the last 9 years. And I'm super excited about today. So
we've been talking about doing this podcast for the last few years. I'd say maybe 3 years. It's been a topic of conversation we've gotten together. And I'm not going to say I've kicked the can down the road because there's been interest.
Absolutely.
But it seems like right now is kind of the perfect time to do this in the way we want to, with the purpose in which we want to do it.
Well, I think you're 100% right there. You and I have talked a ton over the last couple of years that Gainesville gets a bad rap at times and doesn't always get the coverage that we'd like. But we also agree, too, that nobody can tell our story better than us.
Right.
Nobody sees the day in and day out, has the conversations that come in and out of my office, your office, the Student Activities Center here. And we want to give people the opportunity to kind of see what happens behind the G.
Right.
Which obviously is where the name came from. So this is an exciting venture, and I'm excited about the guests we're going to have in, the conversations we're going to have, and how we're going to share our story with the Gainesville community and beyond.
The name Behind the G, a bit of a double entendre, not in a tawdry way. We'll get to more on that here momentarily, but I do want to tell you on this first episode, we've got 3 of our current Gainesville High School coaches coming up. And first-year head coach Christian LeCoeuvre, great conversation with her. She's a trip. You're going to love it. Second-year softball head coach Brad Prestridge, who has his team off to the best start in Gainesville softball program history since 2014. That's a decade plus one, folks. He's doing a great job with the program. Conversation with him coming up. And then we wrap up our talks with coaches this week with football coach Josh Niblett. Entering his 4th year last year, bit of a disappointment. First 2 years, absolutely incredible. Really set the standard for what he wants Gainesville football to be. And hoping to take that to new heights this year. They welcome in Marietta to Bobby Gruen Field at City Park on Friday night. Elephant Walk at 5:45. Kickoff at 7:30. And volleyball and softball are playing at home as well. They both play at home tonight. Both starting at 5:30. Volleyball in the Student Activities Center and softball up top of campus here at Gainesville High School. So now that we've sort of laid the foundation for what today's show is, I want to get into what this is all about in the first place. You just heard us mention we've been in talks about doing this for a few years. It seems timely right now for a number of reasons. The biggest, though, being there's a perception that because Gainesville athletic departments statewide, region-wide, nationwide, are having to do certain things to keep up with the Joneses, as it were, that it means the foundation of us in particular has changed, of the Red Elephants in particular, of Gainesville athletics in particular, and this tradition of excellence that has been built since 1909 is somehow being forgotten or being thrown away for this new era. We want to, part of the purpose of this podcast is to show you how wrong that idea is, that we are fully embracing who we were while becoming who we are and then moving into who we will be, all while staying true to one thing, and that's the G on the chest and the red elephant is the mascot. Behind the G means that we're going to bring you the people, we're going to bring you the moments, we're going to bring you the stories that made Gainesville what it is in the first place. And that's going back, as far as we're able to go back. We want to do that. And then bridge the gap between the then and the now by showing you that the coaches we have now, the student athletes we have now, are the exact same as what made this great to begin with.
Absolutely. I mean, and you know, we know Gainesville High School is over 130 years old. There's been a ton of incredible athletes, a ton of incredible coaches that come through here. But at the end of the day, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. And, certainly, whenever I first got here, this place, this campus, this school doesn't look anything like it does now. And nor does it look like what it was 20 years ago. That goes from, just societal changes and how communities grow. And you can either choose to sit here and put your head in the sand, or you can grow with it and do everything you can to improve your situation. And certainly as we've seen professional sports change, we've seen college change in the last couple of years,
drastically,
and how much that all that stuff trickles down.
There's
no way to sugarcoat that. So that's why what you've seen out of us over the last couple of years is our athletic department motto is we want to provide a Division I experience for our high school kids and high school kids in high school. That makes good sense there. But the point of that is when you go into our locker rooms, not every kid has the ability or the desire to go to the next level and play. We obviously have kids that have that opportunity, but we want to provide that for all of them. In all of our locker rooms, all of our kids have the same goal, and that's kind of what bonds them together. Their goal is to win a championship.
Right.
But what happens after that championship is a vast number of directions. So all in all, we want to provide that Division I experience. We believe it happens in 3 phases. The facilities, which has been kind of the biggest one that everybody wants to talk about around here. And I think we've done a pretty good job with our facilities. The second phase of that is the people we put in the building, the coaches. And I believe we've done a fantastic job of hiring coaches. You're going to get to hear from 3 of them today that, Josh in that conversation has been with us for 4 years. Christina has come in and man, she's gotten after it. She's done an amazing job.
Set the building on fire.
Yeah. Everybody,
she may literally one day. We're not real sure.
when she walks in the room, you have no doubt she's the loudest one in the room. But that's the Yankee coming out in her.
Yeah, yeah.
But the people that we come in put in the building are so important and unprompted. When we had the conversation with those 3 coaches, they all talked about the importance of the connection with the kids, the importance of the relationships, building the young minds of the kids and making them stronger. They didn't come here talking about X's and O's and coming in here talking about, the skill building, those kind of things. All those things are important, but they all understand, and as part of our athletic department, that we have to build strong people, strong citizens that are going to leave us, and no matter what they do, they're going to be successful. So that's the second phase. Third phase is the resources, and I always kind of look at that as my job to make sure our kids and coaches have everything they need to be successful. But that getting that all of our coaches, all of our programs on that same mindset of what the kind of experience we're going to provide for our kids are, I think is what kind of has changed, helped us continue to grow the program over the last couple of years.
I have said it in close company. But never in a format like this. But here we are, and so I'm going to go ahead and let it fly. I came up through Gainesville in the heyday, especially for female athletes. Things were really taking off. We were either playing for state titles or winning state titles in absolutely everything in which we competed. Track and field in 1998. Softball played for 2 state titles. My sophomore and senior years, basketball won a state title. Go to Elite Eights, boys basketball. We were winning in everything. Played for incredible coaches. Got to grow up in this school system around incredible coaches, incredible athletes. I can stand here right now and say, and yes, there's no argument here. There have been great individual coaches come about over the course of the history of Gainesville high school athletics. In no time in the history of our great Red Elephant tradition has there been a conglomerate of coaches all vying for the same things, all with the same goals of, yes, both winning, but also developing great character people. There has not been at one time in the history of Gainesville High School a coaching staff with the acumen, with the accolades, that we have here now. We're incredibly fortunate. I think people, again, People overlook a lot of things that go on here. Hence why we're going to take you behind the G. They overlook for their own because of their own personal agenda or perspective, whatever the case may be. At no time, and anyone who claims to be a fan of Gainesville is proud to be a Red Elephant, and thus cheers for the G at all times, no matter what. There is no better time to be proud of that which you graduated from, that whom you played for, the uniform you once wore. There's no greater time to be proud than right now. Whether it's being reflected in wins or not, because of the kind of people we have leading our student athletes.
Absolutely.
Best coaching staff.
Yep.
You can match our coaching staff. There might be places that can match maybe. Most places can just match one or two of our coaches.
Exactly. But
the entirety of it, an absolute unbelievable job that you, Dr. Jeremy Williams, our superintendent, the leadership has done to bring in these kinds of minds, of people, of strategies, of, they cover all the bases. We're incredibly fortunate right now.
Absolutely. And I think we're fortunate enough to be in Gainesville because I like to say all the time, Gainesville's a community that unabashedly cares about athletics.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they care about everything.
Yeah.
They want us to have the best band. They want us to have the best fine arts program. They want us to have the best academics.
Absolutely.
But they certainly do make no bones about being very thoughtful about the direction the athletic department is going in. And you can bury your head in the sand, but at the end of the day, athletics is the front door for every high school in the country. Mm-hmm. So, we're fortunate to be able to put our best foot forward every day. And the brand is unbelievably important to not just us, but our entire community. Yeah. And that we make sure that we represent it well. And our kids know that. Our kids are very prideful in wearing the G and representing Gainesville in whether that's on a Friday night or a Tuesday night basketball game or volleyball, going and playing in the Queen of the Court tournament. Our kids are very prideful and they know about the tradition. They know about the past because we talk about it. Our coaches talk about it. They hear about it. And that's one of the cool things. You don't get that everywhere. We are a community, and there are a lot of schools out there. I'm not necessarily trying to throw out any names, but the bigger school systems that may have 15 or 20 high schools, they're not built around a community. They just threw up a school,
right?
And they're still trying to figure it out. We've had 130 years of it right here. So that's what makes the Gainesville community so cool. And
hear me when I say we ain't going anywhere. I like to use the phrase all the time, still Gainesville. It doesn't matter what the makeup of the team looks like, who the coach is, we're still Gainesville. And very proud to be hated, so keep that in mind as well. As I mentioned, Behind the G, all about taking you behind the scenes of what it took to build the athletic programs at Gainesville High School and make them great, what it takes to sustain that greatness, and then what it's going to take to continue that greatness. And we hope that we do a great job in handling that responsibility week in and week out. Our first guest of the podcast.
Yay.
Do you feel honored?
Yes, and excited and nervous and all the things. I'm ready.
Her hands are sweating.
I am.
Is Christina LeCoeuvre, our first-year volleyball coach here at Gainesville High School, 4-2 to start the season. Just finished second in Queen of the Court, something we won't make you talk about because I know you're in your feels about it a little bit. But Red Elephant Volleyball off to its best start since 2021. And listen, by the time this goes out, you'll have 2 more matches under your belt. So every accolade and compliment that we're about to bestow upon you could be for naught. It could be for nothing. So let's just keep that in mind.
No, we're going to manifest
just so you know.
It's going to happen.
Just so you know. First and foremost, introduce yourself to Red Elephant Nation. Give us a little bit of information about your background.
So my name is Christina LeCoeuvre. This is my 18th year teaching and coaching. I played Division II volleyball at Armstrong Atlantic down in Savannah, Georgia. After I graduated from there, volleyball has just always been my passion and my love. And I got a teaching job at Windsor Forest High School, and they offered me the coaching position to coach their varsity volleyball team. And I took it, and then the rest is kind of history. My husband and I met down there. He grew up in this area, so he got the job at Archer High School about 10 years ago when we made the decision to move our family up this way. And I ended up getting the job at Buford Middle School as their volleyball coach, and then kind of just through working in that program, worked my way up, and then was at Buford High School the last 6 years. And when I say I love volleyball, like, I love everything about the game, what the game has given to me, what the game has done for me, the opportunities the game has given me. And I just want to instill that love and passion into my players. And like I said, like, it's not just about volleyball and winning games. To me, like, volleyball is the life lessons and the character skills that we build from it. And that's why I want people to like the sport and to love the sport like I do.
I feel like you're the perfect coach to come in for us because that's how you feel about coaching your kids. I think that's sort of a character thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and at the right time. And just before we skip on, you joke about the Southern draw. Where are you from? Because you're clearly not from here.
No, I'm a Yankee.
Not from around
and
here.
I'm loud and proud. I'm from the Chicago area, and so it's funny when I go back home. They'll be like, Christina, you're such a Southern belle now. And I come down here, they're like, you sound so crass. Where are you from?
I love it that they say crass, though. Like, there's got to be a better word. But is Yankee a thing that Yankees talk about being? Because, like, we know a Yankee when we smell one. But I'm asking.
No, like, when we're up there, no, we're not like, hey, you Yankee. It's just we're all the same.
So we refer to y'all as Yankees. What do you refer to us as?
Rednecks.
Oh, man.
Classic.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't have to work hard on that one, did you?
But we joke, like, when I moved down here, I'm like, everybody is so nice. Like, you go to the grocery store and people are so friendly. Like, if you go up home and you're like, hey, to somebody on the street, they're like, what are you at? What are you looking at? So, like, that's why here it's the Southern hospitality. I've really embraced it. I love it. I'm never moving back. Sorry, Mom and Dad. They know.
Well, personally, I love to hear you never move.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
sure Adam Lindsey
We
does
got a lot
too.
of work for you to do here.
Yeah,
No kidding.
I'm ready.
So let's talk about this year's team. I'm going to say something here that's going to make you wildly uncomfortable, but he'll get over it. We lose the second best player in the history of Gainesville High School volleyball in Avery Lindsey last year. So, and she was the quarterback of the squad. She was the setter, handles the ball most of anyone on the team. That is a big position. It seems, though, that there's a fill-in happening, a team-wide fill-in happening.
And I think the best part about taking this role in this job is I knew what I was walking into, but I didn't. They played a lot of seniors last year, which was great. So I hadn't really been able to watch a lot of film on these younger girls. So I'm kind of coming in with no expectation, just my standard, and being able to just let them rise to the standard that I'm setting for them. And they've done such a phenomenal job. And to me, coming into a new situation like this, everybody's like, new coach, very skeptical. Building relationships is the first and foremost thing for me. And that started over the summer with them, to make them know that I'm here for someone, to be someone they can trust, someone that will listen to them, and someone who genuinely wants to invest in their future and care about them, not just the few months that I have them during the season, but year long, year after year. And so once I think I kind of laid that foundation, that they understood that was my main objective and my goal, is like building relationships is a very crucial piece to coaching for me. The rest kind of started falling into place, and then they just naturally started to work hard for me. And it just showed up, like, over the summer. We did a lot over the summer, and they're not used to probably doing as much as we did, but they rose to the occasion and they showed up. And then I would say once practice kind of has really started, we've had to sit down and have some tough conversations about, okay, we need to be fixing like little things like discipline. We talk about like what that looks like in practice and being very specific in that. And we talk about effort. What does that look like in volleyball? Not just being like, you need to have more effort, really break that down for them. And I think just those little things have helped kind of bring them together as a team. And then just instilling confidence in them, because a lot of these girls didn't really have a lot of playing time on the court last year. And so as female athletes nowadays, I feel like that's something that they battle with just in general across the board, is a confidence thing. And so empowering them to believe that they can be these players that I know that they can be. And so I'm really am proud of them and how they've responded to what I brought to the table. And we joke the second place finish was not ideal, but I think we talked about it yesterday at practice. Like, we did so many good things, that we're going to have our chance again. You know, there's going to be another trophy for us to win. And I'd rather make these little mistakes now early in the game so that way when Hall County championships come and, you know, region tournament comes, we'll be hands down ready for that. But
when it boils down to it, and we all know this, being Gainesville, second place trophies don't mean a whole lot to us. No. That's not what we strive for.
Correct.
And we'll take second place here and win a bigger one down the line.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
You know, it's funny. I was black and white about moral victories until I became a coach. Moral victories did not exist. They were not a thing for me. And then I began coaching and realized that sometimes the best wins you can have is watching a young lady reach her potential, correct, even if it doesn't mean a notch in the W column. And so, you know, and obviously you're a long time coach, but you can sort of see the forest for the trees.
Right. And then, you know, they're always looking at how you respond in a situation. Sure. So it's just making sure that I'm composed during those high pressure situations and I'm still confident in them. And then, hey, let's learn from it and grow from it. And we're not going to dwell. We just got a next play mentality and kind of move on from there.
Now, one thing I do want to bring up that has been a common occurrence, in so much as anything can be through 6 games of a season, but your 2 losses came in the last set when you had a point to score, and you gave up 2 instead of scored 1.
Correct.
And you know, it was Cherokee Bluff in the first match, and then Brookwood in the second one. So you're on the precipice of being 6-0. One of the things, and I think it comes with the confidence piece in young ladies or whatever it is, but when we were chatting after the Brookwood loss in the Queen of the Court at Appalachia, we were chatting after that, you said, how do you teach mental toughness? Yep. And I'd be interested, because really that's the difference between you being 4-2 and 6-0.
Correct.
Is just that mental piece. So my panel of experts, what does that look like?
Well, I think it's, in my opinion, I think it's a multifaceted approach. I mean, I do think you have to practice it. I think you have to put your players in stressful situations and make it comfortable for them. You know, we always talk about in athletics, the best players, the game slows down for them. So you have to practice that, but you also have to talk about it. You know, you have to be able to evaluate how we handled it, how we improve it, how we mentally approach it better. So I think you got to hit that both ways, and it's not an easy fix by any stretch of the imagination, but you have to just approach it in multiple ways and see which way works because every player is different.
Yeah.
And that's a big piece to it too, is kind of knowing what makes each person tick. But that's a really big thing that we work on in practice is how can we create adversity in practice? Because you're going to have adversity in a game. You're going to have calls not go your way or,
right,
you know, things like that. And how can we get over it? I'm kind of tapping in more into the mindfulness. So we've been doing a lot more of meditation and kind of really just being able to focus on the breath and to be able to come back to that zen in a stressful situation to kind of help them regroup on the court. So we've been doing and diving into a little bit of meditation before practices and before games, and I think that's kind of helped. We laugh, we just did one on being like a mountain and thinking the mountain is strong and it doesn't waver with seasons and it doesn't waver when people are climbing on it, and we want to be like the mountain. It's we just want to be cool, calm, and collected and strong in the foundation that we've built. So when things do come our way, we're the mountaintop. You know what I'm saying?
You hired a yogi.
Yeah. Had no idea.
Man, zen up in here. I'm calmer just hearing you talk about it.
And it really does, if you, and again, like Adam said, it's a skill you have to practice.
Right.
So breathing techniques are a skill you have to practice,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
those can help play a role when we're in a close, game or a 5th set match and it's 2 points. Can we come back and just take a minute and then regroup? And just little things like that, I think will help them in the long run. And then just doing hard work together is another way, I think, to build
that
mental
trust and that team chemistry.
Yes, just, as athletes, when you're in the trenches and you go through those practices where your coaches just work the crap out of you, you come out of that together, you're like, oh, we survived it. Oh, man, and you're almost bonded through that. So just continuing just to work them hard and trusting the process. And so...
Well, and I do want to commend you on that, Coach. I do realize I've seen a lot of Gainesville volleyball over the last 9 years, and I am very pleased with where the team's at right now. You are playing some younger players who didn't have a ton of experience, and they have improved. There's no doubt about that. They're going through scenarios they haven't been through, and they're not always reacting the exactly way, but they're seeing it, and that way we know that eventually they're going to get over that hump.
Right, and just trusting the process, right.
By the way, this is your beginning of the season meeting with the athletic director.
Okay, good. Check that box.
It's going well. Yeah, you can check that box. It's going well. First home match will be the day that this podcast debuts. That's right. First home match.
Excited about that.
For those of you listening right now, maybe it's Thursday morning, maybe it's Thursday at lunch, and you're planning on coming to Gainesville High School this evening. Volleyball's playing in the Student Activity Center. Softball's playing up top of campus. We got 2 home matches there, a home match there. But you dress up. I want to talk about this real quick.
I mean, I won't be in stilettos.
Stilettos.
I won't
This is
be
the fashion portion of the show.
Right,
Yes, this is the fashion.
right. But I do, and I think it's important to show females especially that we can still look nice, and you dress up for things that are important, and that little layer of professionalism still, that like, this is a big deal for me, you know what I mean? And I want to make it a big deal for you when we're playing in front of our home crowd and our home stand. So I've kind of always dressed up at home games just kind of for that reason, that like we can still be a baddie and we can still like win games with the blazer on.
She just said baddie.
I did.
Also, do you think I give young ladies the impression that you can be amazing and look like a bum?
Yes, you do.
I think that's inherent there. But I do agree with what you're saying. There's a little bit of the professionalism that gets lost sometimes. I mean, I in my job, when I see coaches show up for a volleyball match in t-shirt and shorts, I'm like, oh, you're really
taking this
focused.
seriously.
Yeah.
Right.
And what message are you sending to your players? You know, we expect them to show up dressed uniformly and looking nice and being prepared, and then, you know, coach comes in looking like a slob.
Right, and there's certain things, you know, you dress up for, and there's certain things you don't dress up for. But this first home game, I'm ready. I mean,
She's going to come out in that
I have
sequin.
a couple outfits laid out, so I haven't decided.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my
I might need to go
gosh.
shopping for another red top, but I need more of those.
She's trying to battle with Coach Niblett for
listen.
best dressed.
Well, I've been hearing I won't do an outfit change though in between sets, though. I'm a one outfit.
He doesn't do that.
That is like the
That's
craziest.
only
rumor.
preseason games.
That is the craziest rumor that 100% people believe.
So, Coach LeCoeuvre, Christina. And by the way, don't ever try to spell her last name. Professionals only. Professionals only. As we wrap up with you, you know, when we lost our former volleyball coach Rachel Lawley, who did an incredible job last year with the girls. You know, you're turning right, you're turning left. Where do we go? Again, we've lost a player that could attract a great coach, but there's so much there. It just was untapped yet. And here you sit. And for those of you listening, we got us a good one. I want to know, though, and those listening will as well, what made Big Red attractive to you?
Oh, a lot of things. Adam and I have been talking. We've been talking for a little bit. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
We don't need to give specific details on that. It's the people here that I'm working for and working with is a big thing. I feel a lot of support from the athletic side that I don't think I have necessarily
It's okay.
You can say it.
Yeah.
received in the past. And just to be able for me to come have a fresh start somewhere and really build a program and not just a high school team. When I say a program, that is elementary school up. To be able to build a program the way I envision it with the support that I have was the main reason, because that's how you win games. You don't just win games by, you know, everybody thinks, oh, well, you get athletes. It doesn't happen as often as you think, especially in volleyball. Like, you have to home grow them, and you have to have that love of the game at an early age so that they'll want to keep playing. And so one of my big initiatives moving into this season is not only with the high school girls, but really pouring into the middle school program and really making sure that they receive the love and the support so that those girls will want to continue playing. And so, like, I know all their names right now. I want to know all their names. I want to know all the kids that play volleyball in elementary school. Like, I want to know all of that stuff so that by the time that they reach me in high school, they know what I'm about. They know what my expectation is. They know what the program expectation is. And then it's just an easy flow and an easy transition throughout, middle school to high school.
And it's one of those things, like, as we were having these conversations, when I'm looking for a coach, I have to explain to them, at Gainesville, we run 6 through 12 programs.
Yeah.
And, right off the bat, coach was like, I want to have control of the middle school. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, well, good, that's the expectation, it's different from whatever, some coaches I talk to, like, don't want anything to do with the middle school program. Yeah. Well, that doesn't work here for us.
Right.
And coaches like, well, not just the middle school, but I want to get down to the elementary school and build it. So that's where we kind of like really gelled from the very beginning to understand like this was a great fit of what her vision was and what she felt like she wanted to do for her career and what Gainesville needs and expects.
Well, I know after this conversation, I can't wait to see what's next and what will be built. I know what is in the process is pretty amazing for our volleyball program, and that is thanks in large part to our first-year head coach, Christina LeCoeuvre. Pleasure talking to you as always. We're going to go off air right now so that we can get the real scoop and she can use the language she actually uses.
Oh, go. My Yankee language.
Her Yankee language. And we'll come back with Brad Prestridge, second-year softball coach.
Hey, can I say the Go Big Red?
Do it.
Go Big Red!
Wow. The continued success of Red Elephant Athletics is due in large part to the support given by our Gainesville community through their membership to the Gainesville Athletic Club. The GAC serves all of our GHS programs with funds providing the necessary equipment and gear, among other things, that ensure our student athletes continue receiving a Division I experience in high school. Learn more and become a GAC member today by visiting GoRedElephants.com. Welcome back to Behind the G. You just heard from Christina LeCoeuvre, our first-year Gainesville volleyball coach. Now we're joined by second-year Gainesville softball coach Brad Prestridge. In 2 years under him, Gainesville softball has had its 2 best seasons in literally a decade, and this year is the best of those, as the Red Elephants are 3-0 at the time of this recording, with 2 of those wins coming via run rule. I don't know how many times in promoting those wins. Is that your phone?
Wow.
Man. Old Man Do podcast.
Class alarms.
So I don't know how many times over the course of this first 2 weeks of the season, your 3 wins, I have enjoyed promoting that we are run ruling people and not it being done.
What goes around comes around.
What goes around comes around. First and foremost, welcome into the show. So happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Secondly, we're going to start off hot here. Essentially, there is the same talent on the field for Gainesville softball this year as there was last year, as there was the year before that. Maybe give or take a few. Right? We don't have Bella Folger pitching for us. We don't have Lindsey Ledford in the field. But give or take a few. Exact same talent. Yet, the results are wildly different. Even though we're only 3 games in, if you watch Gainesville softball play, the results are wildly different. You were an assistant coach before you were the head coach.
Right.
What's the difference?
Hopefully it's mindset, trying to change the culture. Mike Lefford, who is my assistant and all, does a great job with hitting and just trying to change the mindset of the girls and believing that they can. It's been a great start to this year. Like I said, we had a good season last year. We lost 3 girls off last year's teams. All of them are starters. And the girls that have stepped into their spot have picked up and have just playing very well right now.
Before we go to Coach Lindsey here, you mentioned mindset, and something I noticed right off the bat, pun intended, last season was how dialed in you and Coach Ledford clearly were, Mike Ledford clearly were as coaches, coaching first base and third base respectively, and how that trickled down to the players. And what I mean by dialed in is over the course of the last 2 years, Gainesville has more stolen bases than they've had in the last 12, 13, 14, 15. That is a direct reflection of the coaches noticing situations and telling the girls, using what you have at your advantage, which is speed. that trickling down to the, have you seen that effect? And look, it's leading to a lot of runs, okay? Is that a mindset thing that you want to trickle down?
Yes, knowing how to play the game, understanding situations, the girls knowing their speed, reading the pitches in the dirt or whatever the case may be, and just turning them loose, and we've had some growing pains with it at times as well, but they the girls have picked up on it, what we're looking for, what we're teaching them, and it's paying off.
So I just want to piggyback on, I guess, what she was asking, but also we talked about this with Coach LeCoeuvre in the last segment, the mental toughness, the mindset. Talk to us a little bit about how you train your team and your girls to be ready for the moment, to fight adversity, because it's always going to happen. Right. So talk to us a little bit about how you deal with that, how you teach your team to deal with that.
With Mike, who has, he's coached at Bernal. He's travel ball team with his daughters coming up, and also he's got a lot of knowledge. And we try to put the girls into situations, at practice that'll help lead into to what could happen on the field. Again, just a lot of repetition and talking them through stuff. When we at practice, when we make mistakes, we stop, we talk about it, we tell them what should have been done or how to or whatever the case may be. And right now we've got some girls in the right spots, which helps. In the past, we've had girls play in places they probably shouldn't have been, but out of necessity, we had to fill in and put and do. So just a lot of work. During the summertime, we here for 2.5 hours, on the days, and just putting in a lot of reps and hopefully just getting the girls to understand the game more and what we're looking for.
Certainly, without a doubt, and I know that's been one of our struggles here. We maybe don't have as many girls that grow up playing softball, so they're having to learn it, either whether that's in middle school or as they're coming up through high school. Certainly, being able to teach them the game, learning situational awareness goes a long way, because they don't always come with that.
Right. Yeah. We in the past, we've are getting girls first time they were trying to play golf as a freshman or sophomore. Softball as a freshman or sophomore.
He's also the golf coach.
Sorry.
Both ways on that one.
Yeah. It goes every direction. And it's tough. In the last couple of years, granted we only got 3 8th graders off the last year's middle school team. They're now our freshmen, but they played a couple of years. Mm-hmm. We've got our middle school program is where we're putting a lot of effort into. We've got a couple of parents that are willing, and they're starting. They're some 10U and 12U travel ball teams, and the parents down there are all in, and which is great. And so hopefully as the next couple of years go, and we keep getting these middle schoolers that have been playing up to the varsity level, we can just transition them into a little bit faster and stronger game than what they're seeing, at the middle school.
A noticeable theme, both with Coach LeCoeuvre a little while ago and now Coach Prestridge, it starts young.
Yep.
And if you don't start them young,
right,
the likelihood that anything happens when they're older is nil, 0 to nil. You and I have had conversations about back when Gainesville softball was really the toast of the town, the toast of the county. Played for two state titles, and this was back in the day. And that, excuse me, and that the reason that was able to happen is the 10U, the 12U.
Right.
Not necessarily travel ball, because that really wasn't a thing back then. No. But it happened because they, those players were taught the ways of the game, but more importantly played together, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So as the coach of a 6 through 12 program, as the leader of the softball program, what investment, what investment do you make in those really really young ladies?
Getting the right coaches in line. It all starts with coaches that want to teach the fundamentals. If you get kids up that can't catch and can't throw, then you're kind of behind the 8 ball.
Right.
So having the coaches in place to to teach the fundamentals and and do everything the right way. is big. Just get them started young, get them in the yard. The things that you don't see anymore. Kids just outside throwing a ball.
Yeah.
Whether it's playing with a ball in the yard or with a real one, which depends on how big your yard is and how your neighbors act. But just growing up playing and being around the game and watching the game, just to learn it and see situations and know how to react to it. We used to play hot box where you just get in a rundown and try to get back to the base and things like that. And the kids today, that's things we were having to teach.
Yeah.
Rather than them just knowing how to do it. But with the travel ball programs and big, strong rec programs, the kids get to play more games, are more competitive, and they get to see a lot of different things. And that's how you build your knowledge and what to do and how to handle situations.
And I think one of the things that people don't realize, with Gainesville running 6-12 programs, we can't ever impress enough on our middle school coaches how important they are to the success we have at high school. We talk to them all the time about just what Coach was saying. It's important for them to teach the fundamentals of the game, to teach the game. It's not about the wins and losses at that level. Obviously, we want to win every time we go out on the field, the court, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, we want our kids to learn the game, to come up to the high school knowing the fundamentals, and then let us kind of take it from there. So those middle school coaches are so important to the success of all of our programs.
Right.
And we call this podcast Behind the G because we do, in fact, want to take you behind what it takes to be successful, behind what it took to become successful to begin with. And one of those things, at least for me, is, and I've been saying it the last 6 or so years, that Cheeto dust is really getting to me. I've been saying it the last 6 or so years. If they show up day one of their 9th grade year, and it's the first time they've touched a bat, we have set ourselves up for failure.
Absolutely.
And that's any program, every program across it. But the only program we care about in this room and this podcast is Big Red. And really, by and large, what has happened over the last few years is young ladies, and they're putting themselves out there. Let me be very clear. They're putting themselves out there and should be applauded for that and wanting to do something and wanting to represent. But it puts a program behind the 8 ball when they show up day one their 9th grade year, and it's the first time they've ever put a glove on.
Right.
So a lot of hurdles to overcome for our softball program, but the good news is we're kind of on the uptick.
Yep.
The program definitely, like I said, we've had some of these girls in the program for a few years now, so they know what's expected. We still have 3 seniors and 3 juniors this year. Our 10th grade class has 6 in it. The freshman class still, we just have 3. So, the sophomore class is a big class. They, like I said, they got a taste of it last year. And this year they've built on what we taught them last year. And like I said, they're getting better.
Right.
And, like I said, we just, it's a process, and, we're just trying to keep climbing that hill.
Gainesville softball, the day we're recording, or actually tomorrow. Today or tomorrow?
What's that?
Tallulah Falls.
Tallulah's today.
Today. So we're recording this on Tuesday. And so they played Tallulah Falls today. Tallulah Falls, they beat in game 1 of the season, 21-20 on a walk-off. Had an 8-1 lead, let it slip a little, and then ended up winning the game. So here's hoping that Tallulah Falls has not yet learned the word revenge, and that we wind up 4-0 by the time you're listening to this podcast. But on Friday, Gainesville will play its 2nd home game of the season. Taking on Central Gwinnett. Saturday.
No,
Friday.
So Thursday.
Thursday
is Central Gwinnett.
Where are we? What time is it?
It's Tuesday.
Thursday is Central Gwinnett.
Right.
Yeah, Thursday is Central Gwinnett. Softball beat Central Gwinnett last night, 17-1. 2nd run rule game of the season. I'm going to say run rule as much as I can until I can't say it anymore because I'm just so excited. But they play Central Gwinnett, and then on Saturday, 2 games. We're going to play Cedar Shoals. We're going to play Chestatee, one at 9 a.m., one at 12:30 p.m. So you get your tickets at GoFan. Make sure you get out to see the Red Elephant.
Stay all day because we got 4 games.
Exactly. Come stay all day. And the concession stand is going to be popping. If I know anything about this concession stand is going to be popping. So, Coach, final thing here, and again, in this podcast, part of it is, we want to update on teams and here's what's going on and blah, 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 but also get a feel for who our people are. You coach softball, you coach women's golf. You were an assistant basketball coach. I think you've been an assistant coach of every sport. I don't know about every sport, but a lot of. So What other than the pay? We're going to go ahead and knock that out. What other than the supplement? Truly, you've got to love it to show up and do it every day in the capacity in which this day and time demands. What do you love about coaching?
You know exactly what it is. I mean, it's a grind. You build these relationships with these kids, and yes, it's the sport. It's about the sport, but it is more than that when it comes to when you're teaching and coaching kids. You're trying to help them grow as an individual. So it's really the big picture. This is year 24 or 5 for me in teaching and coaching. So it's just something I love to do. I love coming here every day and working and being around the kids and putting in the time in to see them improve and to watch them grow, through the years. It's great to have when you get kids as a ninth grader and watch them all the way through to their senior year. And like I said, you build those relationships, and it's just fun. I enjoy the sports, so I just has reason to get up every morning and come to work. But it's something to look forward to.
It's cool to say that. It's cool. You can say that in this room. Maybe don't say it to Coach Roberto Rivera, our principal, but you can say it in this room. And it's fun for us to be able to watch, not just, again, we talked with Christian LeCoeuvre about moral victories, not just notching a W, but seeing these young ladies accomplish something, even if it's a small improvement, and the joy they have on their face. And boy, that has happened over the course of the last 2 years. And if this man stays in charge, I know it's going to keep happening. Coach Brad Prestridge, love having you on the show.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, we're going to drag you back on it a few more times this season. You going to be okay with that? And if every time you come on, I'm able to say you just run with somebody, it's going to be a great day.
Yeah.
Folks, we'll come back with the one and only Josh Niblett. Make sure, if you haven't yet, that you're following us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. @GoRedElephants is the handle. And bookmark our website, GoRedElephants.com, where you can find the latest news and photos from Red Elephant Athletics, plus roster and schedule information. Go Red Elephants on social media, GoRedElephants.com on the web. All the Big Red you can handle right at your fingertips. For the final segment of this week, as should be expected, we saved the best for last. Football coach entering his 4th year at Gainesville High School, Josh Niblett, in 3 years with the Red Elephants, 33-5. First 2 years, Coach, first of all, welcome. So happy you're here. You look good. Sound good. Breath smells good. Appreciate it.
Yeah. For all the viewers.
For all the viewers. Yeah. If you had smell-o-vision, you'd know. First 2 years with us, you taught us to expect a standard. You taught us to expect a standard. And I think last year, I know for everyone involved directly, but of course for those of us who love it like y'all do, fell a little short of that standard. What's the work been like over the summer? What's the work been like pre-season to get ready to raise the bar back up this season?
Yeah, I think the bottom line is when we came in January, which first of all, once the season's over with, I've got to do an evaluation of where we are as a program, right? So, why did we not do the things up to the standard that we wanted to? Why were there things in certain parts of not just the program, not just on Friday night, but from an overall standpoint, when I evaluate our program, I've got to look at it all. Most people in our program can see it from 9,000 feet. I've got to see it from 60,000 feet. So I've got to see how it all works together. And so, first thing I had to do was evaluate myself. What did I not do right? What can I do better? And then, I think you got to take it personal. I think you got to be critical of yourself. And then when that's happened at the end of the season, then we do, our staff evaluations. And, I'm always going to be high truth, high love with our guys. And, I thought as a staff, we had some things last year where, we were lacking a little bit of staff early. So, there was a lot of moving pieces going into the season. So, the connection part with our players, I don't think was as strong as it was the first couple of years because guys are just trying to get to know each other, know what we're doing, know what our culture is, our program. So then when we came back in January, just laying it out to the state of the program to our players. And the first thing I just told them, I said, look, what happened last year, we got to own it. And if we'll own it, then we'll earn the right to fix it. Because we own 2022 and 2023. Those are easy to own. Yeah. You got to own the ones where you maybe just didn't play up to your standard. And I think our kids have done that. I think they're desperate. I think that's the way they've been working. And we've got a really, really good group that's been with me the last 4 years that were 8th graders the spring when I got here. And so this is kind of that first group that I got to bring all the way through, and I'm excited about this group and the leadership and the standard in which they went about their business every day.
Absolutely, and if you would go into that just a little bit deeper with some of the seniors, you got a strong senior class here. This is your first group that were freshmen. How have you seen them grow to get them to the place where they are today to be the senior leaders that they have to be this year?
Well, there's no substitute for continuity. There's no substitute for consistency, right? I mean, I think that's in this day and time that we live in, kids yearn for consistency, right? And try to have something, what they can expect every day. And I think this group, their first year, they kind of were trying to figure it out because, they're freshmen, right? And some of them got an opportunity to get on the field a little bit. But it was learn more about what's going to be expected of us. And then as a sophomore, a lot of those guys kind of moved into more of a role to where they were playing a lot and starting. And then last year, I think the toughest year for kids is when they're a junior. I think they want to be leaders, but they feel like, hey, I've got to let the seniors lead because that's kind of what they're supposed to do. And I think last year there was a little bit of that to where I think we had a lot of juniors that wanted to lead and could have led. But I think they wanted to allow those older guys to lead. But I like this group because now as leaders, they want all these other guys to lead with them. Yeah. And I think that's kind of been the neat things. Like when you talk about, Caden Fossen, Caden was one of the first guys I ever met. You talk about Marshall. You talk about Xavier Griffin. We got a lot of guys in that group that Roger Holder, Damari Cheeks. A lot of those guys have been through a lot in our program. And to see them come full circle to a point of where, hey, this is an exciting time for them. I'm excited about this group. And look, this is the first. We're 30 guys as seniors? Yeah. It's our biggest senior class since I've been here.
30 seniors.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. That's absolutely remarkable. And those guys stuck it out. I really think about Marshall Leonard. Had him in class when he was a freshman. Of course, he goes through an injury.
Yep.
And he was a standout as a sophomore. I think he may have been one of those that played a little bit as a freshman, defensive lineman for us. But Marshall has turned into such a stellar young man, and to see his resilience coming through his injury and now to be back on the field, even in just a scrimmage, the passion he displayed was I think really befitting the program you're building.
Well, and I think the other thing is like, I don't think kids can face enough adversity. Like, I think a lot of times we try to keep them from adversity, but in our program, we savor those moments of adversity so they could be teachable moments. What he went through last year, most people would never have been able to get through it, and a whole year of not getting to play. And then all of a sudden you got to come back, you're rehabbing, you're trying to get back. And then in the spring, you got to get that mental capacity of where, what is your mental disposition when you go out and practice every day? I'm coming off an injury. Can I turn it loose? And then all of a sudden now, there's nobody happier and having more fun going out to practice every day than that guy. And
there's nobody louder than
yeah, well, and he brings a lot of that to our locker room. But, our kids respect him and they want him there with him. And I'm just telling you, if I went into a street fight, and my dad used to say this when he coached me, that's how you know what kind of team you got is when you go into a street fight, who would you want to take with you? And he'd be definitely one of those ones I'd make sure was going with us.
There are a number of your seniors, I think I would say, including, and listen, I mean no disrespect when I use these adjectives. Little old Philip Williams, he'd be one of the first ones I'd get with me.
If you ever come to practice, every now and then, kids are kids. If they're ill, and I know it's going to be an ill day, I know there might be a couple of scuffles at practice because our guys just have an edge and they love to compete against each other, but they love each other. It's almost like, hey, I can have a scuffle with my brother, but you can't, right? And so they have each other's back. And so Philip's one of those guys, Marshall's one of those guys, Caden's one of those guys. And it's a tight-knit group. They've been together for a while, and I think those guys want to see not only themselves be successful, but see this program be successful.
One of the things that has stood out to me as you've watched the preseason unfold and then the couple scrimmages we've had is how it seems like, and I'm going to say something here, and I know those listening are going to be like, what are you talking about? You had every offer from every school in America. How Xavier Griffin has found himself again. He is back to being the guy that first got on everybody's radar to begin with.
Yep.
And I want to know if you see. Am I right? Am I right?
You're exactly right. And I'm just telling you. I mean, I think the biggest thing we just got through talking about it this morning after practice. I mean, we're in the locker room. It's me and Coach Cut, and Coach Motley, and we're like, we're talking about different players, across the region, but we're coaching really, really good players, and other people are coaching really, really good players. But the standard in our program, it challenges you to be the best version of you, right? And so Xavier, to watch in the spring, he came up to me during spring ball, and he's like, "Thank you, Coach, for having me in the best shape of my life," right? So there's some value there, right? Yeah. Then we get into the summer, and he just takes it up to another level because, let's just be honest. I mean, he's got everything you want. I mean, he's got offers. He's going to have all this. He could show up every day and just, but he knows that's not our standard. Right. But you go look at his locker right now, and it's all of our guys have to have their lockers in one spot. I mean, his locker's going to be perfect every day because that stuff means something to him. Come watch him practice. I mean, him flying around. Last week, when we played McEachern, just watching him fly around the ball and playing at a high level, practicing at a high level, he's going to have an unbelievable year. And everything he's getting, he deserves.
And let's be very, very honest. It would be easy for a number of these young men, and I don't just mean within this program. I mean nationwide, with what high school recruits at a high level are getting from the colleges. It would be very easy for them to mail it in. And yet we're seeing the complete opposite with a number of our seniors, a number of our juniors too. Be on the lookout for them. But a number of our seniors led by Xavier Griffin. Before we continue with you, Coach Niblett, I want everybody to know, if you go to our website, goredelephants.com, go to the football page, complete roster, complete schedule, all the news, all the photos, anything you could want is right there at your fingertips. And of course, our boys open up at home. Have 7 home games this season, praise the Lord, and Bassett Biscuits. Open up at home Friday night against Marietta. Little history here. The field that y'all are going to play on Friday night is named for Bobby Gruen. There we go. Bobby Gruen is the only coach to go winless against Marietta. Gainesville and Marietta faced off 25 times in 42 years, from 1923 to 1965. 1965 was the last year Marietta and Gainesville played, until last year, when we beat them 41-3. Played 25 times over 42 years. The last time they played was 3 years into Bobby Gruen's tenure, and I think the man said, "I've had enough," because they keep whooping me, and they have never whooped another Gainesville coach. Just a little history for all of you out there listening. But let's chat about Marietta. Obviously, big win against them last year. Can't put anything on that when it comes to 2025. What's Marietta looking like?
Well, first of all, you know me well enough to know that we don't try to make it about them during the week, but we do know and we respect our opponent to the point of being that we've got to get lined up. Who are their best players? Where are the matchups that they're trying to get? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Just like what do they think our strengths and weaknesses are, right? How does that play out? It's a chess match. But when you're looking at them on film, defensively, they got a new staff, so they got a new coach. The one thing that you do notice is that their kids play extremely hard with great energy. So he's an energy guy. So you can tell that during the game when you watch them, they take a lot of ownership in that. Defensively, they're an odd front. I mean, for people out there, they may not know, but they're a boundary reduction team, which means, they try to set their front, based off of boundary reducing it, which offensively for us, it tells you a lot of things that you're going to have to try to do if you want to be able to run the football, right? But, I think defensively they fly around. They got 2 really good guys up front. They're very, very penetrative defensive linemen, they want to get up the field and wreak havoc. Offensively, they kind of go as their run game goes. They run a lot of gap schemes, and then they've got a receiver on the outside that can go. Special teams wise in their jamboree, they blocked a punt, ran a punt back for a touchdown. Defensively, they had 2 pick sixes. So, we got our work cut out for us. But it's like I told our guys, this week's about us, right? this is a big game because we're playing in it. Yeah. And so that's the way we blocked in and focused on. We got to take care of us because if we don't take care of us, KB, then it's going to be. We're going to hope they don't play well. Yeah. We don't need to let people dictate what we're doing, but we respect them, and we know they're going to come in here with some energy.
Well, and it's one of those things I love to hear you say it when it's a big game because we're playing in it. People don't always realize that your focus is always on us. Obviously there are things we have to do to prepare and those kind of things. I want to go back for just a second because we've kind of had like a little underlying theme for our interviews today about the mental toughness piece, about the mindset training, putting our kids in adversity. And if anybody who really knows your program knows, y'all spend a ton of time on mindset training. So for those that don't know, give us kind of like what it is you're trying to do, especially as it goes into this week, as far as mindset training for your kids to have them ready for Friday night.
Well, I love talking about that more than I do football. But even through the off season, we have mindset training, and our kids get a journal. It's a red journal. It's leather. It's unbelievable. It's got the program on it, and I think the neat thing about it is we tell our guys, if you want to be a real man, then put your phone up and take out a pen and start writing notes, right? Because that's what it's about. Like, you'll write in your journal things that nobody else even really knows about you. So we try to get in touch with ourselves, and then in the spring and the off season, we have a thing. Like this year, we went through the program, and so we went through that book all the way through April, and then in May, right before we're about to get out of school, I'm trying to figure out for the summer, what do I want the mindset to be that's really going to work with our guys, right? And so I don't know how it happened. I'm listening to a podcast. All of a sudden, John Gordon comes on, and I'm listening to him. He's talking about this new book. It's the 7 Commitments of a Great Team. And I'm like, shit, there you go. So let's just go to, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, whichever one is it right here. But I went over there. Sorry. But went over there.
Is it for your next one?
Yeah, sorry. But I did go in there, and I'm like, hey, you have this book. They go, oh, we got one. And so we go back. They couldn't find it. So I was like, well, there you go. Maybe we're not supposed to. So this lady walks by, and she's like, oh, we do have one copy. So she went in the back and found it. So I'm not a fast reader. All right. And so, but I read that book in about 3 days. I had it laid out. And then I meet somebody that knew John Gordon, and then got John Gordon and myself connected on the phone, which was unbelievable. Standing on the beach, talking to him for 20 minutes about certain things, and the things that we've been able to do this summer with our guys. It all laid out to the 7 weeks leading into fall camp. We talked about all the commitments. If you go up there, you'll see rocks in their locker that have their one word on them. You'll see a band of sticks that's sitting in my window that we talk about sticking together. But this week, for game week, it's be who we say we are. Okay? And yesterday's mindset was reasonable expectations. Like, if you're going to be who you say you are, then what is reasonable expectations? For most people, it's just get through the day. Like, what does practice look like for us in our program that is a reasonable expectation? And for us, it's every day you got to move the needle up. If you're the same guy making the same mistakes as you did last year, then it's not going to be good because you're not going to be successful. And so in our program, like, what does that mean? So for this week, like, it doesn't matter everybody outside our building that has reasonable expectations for what they think we should be. It's what we think we should be. And so expectations are what you want them to be, not what somebody else puts on you. Nobody puts more expectation on us in this program than we do that are in the building, in the locker room, the core of our program.
So, Andy Reid, coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, former coach of the Eagles, former offensive line coach, he has a note card posted on the wall behind his desk. Has the entirety of his coaching tenure in the NFL. That note card says, "Don't judge." It's a daily reminder to him, and this is a coach that few will surpass when it comes to success. And yet, a simple message every day he sees, "Don't judge," reminds him to meet his players where they are. Mm-hmm. No matter what they're going through in life, no matter where they are athletically, no matter where they are, but meet them where they are, and then push them to their potential. What do you have in your office, at home, that you wake up, you see? What's your note card?
It's funny that you say that because, like, for me, I'm a faith-based guy. So, I mean, for me, it's scripture for me. I mean, Joshua 1:9 says, "Have not I commanded thee, be strong enough, good courage, don't be afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee wherever thou goest." And so when I wake up every morning, I know I'm not by myself, even though sometimes, you go through days where you feel like the world's on top of you and you're by yourself. I'm not. And so I just try to reach a strength and a power that's greater than me. So that way the cause is bigger than myself every day. And I don't have to worry about what I'm about to go through because, like the big thing with our guys is we talk to our staff, because I meet with our staff a lot, all right, and our staff's got to go out and they've got to speak the same language,
right.
And they've got to give the same message. And this past offseason, it was about connecting, right? I mean, we got to have that awareness in our program to where, hey, there's a kid coming in that morning. He may not have had breakfast. There's a kid that came in that morning that they might have been in an argument. Mm-hmm. They had a kid come in that morning or that afternoon and they broke up with their girlfriend, right? You got to meet them where they're at, right? And kids want to know how much you care before they care how much you know. And so when you want to be able to meet them to say, hey, look, we're not going to let this be an excuse or an option. Look, we're about to take this thing to another level and we're going to help you get to that point.
Right.
Because when Adam was talking about mental toughness, like those adversity situations, us having discipline in our program, that's the key in our program. When people say, well, discipline, kids hate to hear that word. But I tell them it's simple. There's something over here I don't want to do that I need to do. Can I make myself do it? And there's something over here I want to do that I don't need to do. Can I make myself not do it?
Right.
That's discipline, right? And I think that's what we try to talk about in our program on a day-to-day basis, but not only talk it, but try to live it.
There's a misconception with anyone really, but especially if you're an athlete, that discipline is running because you did something wrong.
Yeah,
discipline is a multifaceted word, and obviously being employed very well for our Gainesville football program, but really what's not.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
So I guess, sorry, I got us off track there a little bit, but I think that's what Behind the G is all about.
Yeah.
But getting back to Marietta a little bit. So what should we expect to see out of the team this Friday night?
Well, for us, I mean, we want to continue on that little bit of a climb because we feel like we've made some improvement from the spring to the padded camp, from the padded camp to the jamboree. Felt like we had some really good energy practices last week on the week leading up. Is continuously trying to get better, right? We told our guys making small gains, right? Just get a little bit better every day. Now, I mean, if we can improve and get a little bit better this week, we got to cut down on the penalties that we had in the first game. Normally from the first game, which is jamboree, the second one's when you make your most improvement. So, I can handle certain penalties, effort penalties, but I can't handle pre-snap, post-snap penalties. I can't handle them. So we've got to do a really good job of being disciplined in that standpoint. And then be consistent on special teams because, we got to do punt and then punt return in the jamboree, but we didn't get to do kickoff return. So those are two big faces of the game that either start the game off or start the half off. So I'm excited. I mean, we want to play fast on offense. We want to play physical, and we want to fly around defensively. And if we do those things, then we'll be fine. If we don't, then it could be a long night. So, but we got to show up and do what we do and be who we say we are. And at the end of the game, I think we'll be where we want to be.
Friday night, Bobby Gruen Field at City Park, Gainesville taking on Marietta. Second time in as many years, but the 27th time, and I don't know, I'm not that good at math, a lot of years. And again, Bobby Gruen, the only coach to go winless against them. Folks, the Elephant Walk's at 5:45. You don't want to miss that. Pre-game festivities, not going to want to miss that either. We've got a brand new pre-game video we're rolling out. It's pretty awesome. I've seen it, so make sure that your fannies are in the stands for that. And then, of course, kickoff at 7:30 is Teacher Appreciation Night at City Park. Any and all information you need on our website, GoRedElephants.com, or follow us on social media at GoRedElephants. More importantly, follow this guy and his program on social media, at Red Elephant Football on Instagram and the Twitter. Coach, I don't know. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Christina LeCoeuvre, our new volleyball coach, may rival you.
Yep.
When all is said and done, she may be the one that rivals you.
Love it.
In people I enjoy talking to. But they ain't nobody better. And I love you and can't wait to have you on again next week.
Well, I love you too. And love Adam, man. I appreciate everything y'all do. This is not about people it's a connection we have in these buildings. And people don't understand.
They don't.
Right. And But God bless everybody, and go Big Red. Look forward to seeing everybody Friday night.
Thanks so much, Coach.
We appreciate you all listening to the first episode of Behind the G. It was a lot longer than we wanted, a little choppier than we wanted, but know this, we're going to get 1% better every single day. Tune in next week as we welcome longtime GHS cross country and track and field coach Rich Corbett. If you have a question you would like answered on the show or a show topic you want discussed, email me, katie.davis@gcssk12.net. Until next time, be great, Big Red, and we'll talk to you soon from Behind the G.